I tried to go to the police, and this is the thing is, the first time I talked to a police officer on the phone, he told me, "Are you sure it's not only a revenge against your ex?" Well, it never can be. He never was my ex. He never even been my boyfriend. He was just a sexual assault out of nowhere.
Once I told the school, it was near the time of finals, and the school was like, well, it's a bad time of the semester to lodge a complaint. Like, there was going to be consequences anyway, and I don't want you to go through this if it's going to be fruitless.
The person told me something like, well, you're the first person that makes a complaint. You know, sometimes people victimize themselves, and I went out of his office and I felt really bad about myself.
Ariane L'Italien, Kimberly Marin, and Mélanie Lemay are all Quebecers who were sexually assaulted as students and were all discouraged from bringing their assaulters to justice. They took part in the Montreal protest against rape culture and have come together to form a new advocacy group to make people aware of their experiences and demand change. And after making some high-profile appearances in the media, women came forward in droves.
Many hundred women wrote us and told us that something happened to them, that or they never talked about it, or when they talked about it, they didn't have a good reception of their story. So I think there's a problem in the culture in Quebec.
They're working to raise awareness of rape culture because even with all the new discussion, it's a constant problem that isn't going away. There was actually a sharp increase of reported sexual assaults in Montreal in the past few years, going from about 1,100 in 2014 to nearly 1,300 in 2015. Experts say that could be because more women are coming forward now, but even still, most sexual assaults don't get reported at all.
Probably a very common reaction for women is a feeling of shame. And again, why is that? It's nothing they did but that cultural message. So women have to become aware that if they've experienced violence, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
And as more and more voices are added to the demand for change, universities have emerged as a key front in the fight.
Some people call it like the red zone, which is the first couple months of the semester, particularly the fall semester, when students are new, they're maybe away from home for the first time, they're in a particularly vulnerable or risky period for those first 2 months.
The particular danger for students has prompted schools like Concordia to act, and their Sexual Assault Resource Center is equipped to help. It's complete with a drop-in center where students can come meet with a counselor anytime. They also recently adopted a sexual assault policy in which Drummond plays a key role.
So if the survivor needs academic accommodations, if the survivor needs medical attention, if the survivor wants security to be involved, these are all examples of different units or people that I can bring together to kind of streamline the response so that the survivor doesn't have to go from place to place retelling their story.
She's also responsible for rolling out awareness campaigns in the form of billboards on campus, pamphlets, and even video ads. But other schools are being accused of dragging their feet. Leila Matthew has looked into the issue on campus at McGill and wrote about it for the McGill Tribune.
I was told that McGill actually didn't have a sexual assault policy, which absolutely seemed ridiculous to me.
Criticism is fair to some extent. We could have acted sooner. I think that part of it related to the fact that the students were drafting this. Students had been given some information that they could draft a policy and bring it forward in a way that really isn't how policy development works in a university or in a big institution. And so I think, yeah, for sure it could have come sooner. We're really happy that it's coming now.
Though the McGill policy is on the way and the university thinks criticism saying it doesn't go far enough is unfounded, there's still a long way to go on campuses and elsewhere.
Fewer than 20% of Canadian universities actually have one in place, which I find ridiculous.
Every university needs to do better. Our entire culture needs to do better.
The Quebec government has launched a plan to deal with sexual assault, which is encouraging to the activists. And right now it seems the momentum of the cause is stronger than ever.
Something very powerful is happening. I think this issue is being spoken about in a way that it hasn't been, and in a way that's public, and in a way that is involving a lot of people that maybe in the past weren't talking about this.
I am thrilled that this has been more in the news over the past weeks. I'm a little worried because it seems like every time that we've talked about sexual violence in Quebec over recent years, it's been kind of waves. We saw it with Been Raped Never Reported, with Gomeshi, the Gomeshi trial, and now this. And I just really hope that this is not going to be another wave, and that politicians are going to stick to their words, and society as a whole will continue to have those discussions.